You're so coy, alluring, angel with a wicked smile, sleeping 20 hours a day, never lay a paw on dusty clay. I'll keep your litter natural, no chemicals in your nostrils, just corn below, so every time you go you'll know your don't stink. World's best cat litter for the world's best cat.
Yard waste burning is one of the leading causes of wildfires in Florida. If your fire escapes, you may be liable for costs of fighting the fire and for damage to property. You can prevent wildfire by burning safely. Learn to burn safely at BeWildfireReadyFL.com.
Welcome to 3 Yards Per Carry, a podcast covering the Miami Dolphins and the NFL. Now, here's your hosts, Chris, Alf, and Simon.
All right, and welcome to the pod for the last time. Maybe for a little bit, but for the last time right now for 3YPC, I am Kai Chisholm. Joining me is Merrick Brave, and now finally back after a small hiatus is Joshua House. Merrick, at the day of recording, even though we posted an episode where at the time of recording it wasn't your birthday and the day of posting it was your birthday, the day of recording it is your birthday. How I know we talked about it a little bit before, but how have you felt? How has your birthday been thus far?
Oh, it's been a chill day here in Iowa. I had a really long weekend. I put on wrestling shows in addition to being a wrestling trainer. And I still dabble in the wrestling myself here and there when I can. You know, at this age, it gets a little bit tougher. But I wrestled on Friday, wrestled on Saturday. It was actually my son's birthday late last week. So we had his birthday party on Sunday. My birthday's today here, Monday, June 26th. And I'm just chilling, man. I'm just chilling. Happy to be on with you guys for the last time on the 3YPC, at least for this year. Maybe we'll get invited back next year. That's if everybody enjoyed listening to us. I'm sure there's some mean and hateful comments.
Oh, there's people that I'm associated with some people that are hated on Dolphins Twitter, so I always get the brunt force of it.
You feel that?
Did you, real quick before I ask House, did you win your matches?
Yes, actually, yeah, 2-0 this weekend. 2-0, man.
That's great.
I tried my best and I came out on top.
That's perfect. Josh, how have you been? I haven't heard from your beautiful voice in quite some time.
Yeah, I think the last time I was on, my daughter told me to shut the hell up, basically, and kicked me out. So they were a little bit angry, so I couldn't do that last pod. But I'm glad to be back with you guys. And, you know, we say it every time we're on here, but we just want to thank Alf, Simon, and CK for giving us this opportunity to come on here and talk about the Dolphins. So glad to be back.
Absolutely.
Happy birthday, Merrick. There's tons of
you.
storms down this way, so I'm blaming your ass because they definitely came from the Midwest.
They sure did. Crazy storms this weekend. We were actually supposed to wrestle at a festival outside on Saturday, but the forecast looked bad. So we moved it inside to this really cool theater in downtown Iowa City, which was really fun. But then I had to drive the ring trailer home after the show, and there was 3 tornado warnings during my 1-hour drive home. And people kept texting me and they're like, you need to find shelter. You need to find shelter. And I'm like, now where the hell do you think I'm supposed to find shelter for my ass in this 20-foot trailer when I'm on the highway going 65?
Not happening.
I said that tornado's coming whether I'm standing still or I'm moving down this highway. So I'm just trying to get home. So I made it, and I'm here with y'all.
That's great. No, I mean, I feel like it might kind of be from our side of the world, Josh, just because, you know, there is a pending potential maybe tropical storm that's kind of coming, maybe possibly. So it might be from us here in South Florida. I don't know. You know, the weather works in mysterious ways because we've been getting bad rain every day for it feels like 2 weeks now. I want to, before we get into the sponsor, I want to give a huge shout out without revealing too many information. I want to give a huge shout out to Ann Nolan and Ann Hackey with the Miami Dolphins. They did something very, very great for me and my job, and for the people that I supervise at my job. And it was a very, very awesome thing for them to do. I'll probably post more about it on Twitter once it finally comes around, without revealing too much information, but it means a lot to me. It means a lot to the people at my job for what they were able to do for us. So I wanted to give them a huge shout out because, they don't have to, what they did, they don't have to do. And for them to do that is an amazing thing. For our sponsors, you can go to PrizePicks, use code 5, that's FIVE, deposit $100 and they give you $100. It's a one-time rollover, bet once and they essentially give it to you. It's a free money. That's the code 5, FIVE, and then Better Edge, that's BETTOREDGE.com/5, and then reasons, you get $20 just for signing up. Josh, you came up with the wonderful idea for today's episode, so I want to kind of give you the chance to present it to the audience.
Oh man, I'm on the spot here. Yeah, I figured for our farewell episode, we may as well sit here and dissect the upcoming schedule and give our thoughts on the Miami Dolphins, because we talked about on every pod that we were on, this is the most excited we've been about this team on paper. It's the best looking team that we've had. So I thought it was the perfect way to go out with a bang and hopefully give a lot of optimism to the fan base, because like Merrick and I both said, we're both older than you, much older than you, Kai. I bet. Yeah, we're probably nearly
I'm
double
20.
your
I'm
age,
25. Newly 25. Only been
Okay.
25 for
Yeah,
about 3 months.
so I'm 36, and that means Merrick just turned 37. So I
Oh,
mean,
yes, I did.
we are old heads. We've seen some
Love
great
being young.
teams. We watched number 13, sling that rock around, but yet this is still probably I know people get upset, but this is probably the most talented team top to bottom that we've seen in our lifetime. So let's dissect this schedule and give our opinions on the Miami Dolphins.
So do you guys want to start breaking down the schedule, or do you want to go first with some kind of season predictions overall, and then we'll go kind of, I guess, game by game as quickly as possible, because obviously we don't want to spend too much time on just game by game.
Yeah, let's do the game by game stuff. Let's get that out of the way. I love it. I really like it. This is our crystal ball episode, our Nostradamus episode, our soothsayer episode. Have you guys ever been to a psychic?
No, I'm too afraid.
Yeah, too scared.
Yeah.
I don't need
I-
to know when I'm gonna die.
I ran recently. Didn't go see a psychic, but was in the presence of a psychic. And as I was just introducing myself, I had never met this guy before. He had never met me. He looks at me and he goes, "Hey, don't worry. The house situation will resolve itself soon." And I was like, "What the hell is going on?" The week prior, I had actually gone and looked at a new house that I was interested in purchasing. Long story short, I didn't get the house because my bank kind of drug their feet on the home loan application, and they accepted an offer within 24 hours of the house being listed. But this guy knew about that. I didn't tweet about it. I didn't tell anyone about it. I had never met this guy before a day in my life, and immediately upon meeting him for the very first time, he said, "Don't you worry, that house situation will get itself figured out in due time." So
That scares the
I don't
shit
know.
out of me.
Yeah, I don't know if I was a believer before then, but I might be a
Jeez.
believer now.
I don't want to go off on too much of a tangent, but like, I'm a true crime person. I love like seeing the psychology behind how people get to that point that they would ever do something like that. And that stuff doesn't really scare me. I can see it in any of these pictures and it's like whatever. But for whatever reason, that just scared the shit out of me. All right, so so game one against the Los Angeles Chargers. That is away. How are we feeling about that? I'll start with you, Houts.
Yeah, I mean, these, you just look at the first 4 games of the season, and I mean, for as excited as we are about the Miami Dolphins, I mean, these are kind of going to define this season. I mean, you got the Chargers at 425, week 1, Herbert versus Tua. I mean, that's going to be a thing regardless of how this game ends up. The Patriots on primetime the next week, the Broncos, and then the Bills. I mean, I'm looking at those games, and I feel like, I mean, I want to say they go 3-1 to be an optimist, but I feel like if you get out of that 2-2, you got to feel pretty good, because I mean, heading into this year, for whatever it's worth, the Dolphins had the toughest strength of schedule before the year begins. So those are 4 tough matchups, and I think the Dolphins have to come out of the gate firing on all cylinders. I'm interested to see the way that Tua Tagovailoa, Justin Herbert rubber match. I think they're both 1-1 against each other. How that truly plays out, because those first 4 games are pretty rough.
I mean, we start away against the Chargers, away against the Patriots, then at home against the Broncos, and then away against the Bills. I mean, it's a tough home stretch. I think it's kind of similar, I think, a little bit to last year. I believe there was a few people that were saying the same thing about the first 4, where if you at least come out of it 2-2, you feel good. And we came out of it way better than 2-2. So it was a good start for us. Merrick, those first 4, how are you feeling?
I think the Dolphins owe the Chargers one after last year on prime time. And this game isn't technically on prime time, but it's in that late window. Tua gets an entire summer to practice against a Vic Fangio style defense, which is kind of what they run in Los Angeles with the Chargers there. I think he'll perform much better. Hopefully the team goes into that pretty healthy, and I think they can steal one on the road with the Chargers there. So I'm actually looking at these first 4 games, 3 of them on the road. That's pretty tough, but I'm looking at it, and I think the Dolphins can absolutely go 3-1 through these first 3 games. If they can steal one against the Chargers, I think they'll take care of business against New England like Tua always does. I think they got that home game against Denver, which will go in their favor. And then maybe the only loss there is I see Buffalo at Buffalo. That's a tough team. I think the Dolphins are going to have a good season, make a good run at the AFC East. We'll see if they get there. But until you can go to Buffalo and beat Buffalo, then I'm going to pick Buffalo in those matchups every time. So I still predict a 3-1 start through those first 4 games, though.
Yeah, we're on the same page there. I think that I think we'll be able to squeeze one out against the Chargers. I don't think it's going to be some game where I'm going to sit here and be super uber confident, because I definitely believe that we can come out of that with a loss. But I don't see them losing either against the Patriots or at home against the Broncos. I think the surefire loss right now, and just because of how you said it, I don't believe in that we almost beat them. I believe in we beat them. And we have not beat them in Buffalo in quite some time. So until, like you said, Merritt, that we beat them in Buffalo, I just can't pick them to win that game. So I kind of start off on the same thing with a 3-1 there. Going into the next ones, we got at home against the Giants, at home against the Panthers, away against the Eagles, and then at home against the Patriots. Both games against the Patriots coming in the first 8 weeks of the season. So within that first 2 months, you won't be playing the Patriots ever again, which is a little bit interesting because that's not the situation we've been used to. Houts, your thoughts on the next 4?
Yeah, I mean, I like what Merrick said about the Patriots, and he's right. Tua has never lost to the Patriots, so we can throw that out there until he finally does lose. So unless they go out there and get a DeAndre Hopkins and pair him with Dalvin Cook, I think there are some reports out there that is a pipe dream of New England. Yeah, so if something like that were to happen, maybe they'd split this, but I think they sweep New England, as crazy as that may have sounded years ago. The Giants, I mean, I don't see them as a threat, but I think that I probably overlook them a little bit. I mean, I think Daniel Jones is probably better than I think he is in my mind. So I see that as a win. Carolina, very young team. I can't see them, really being a factor this year. So the only loss I see there, and as painful as it is for me to say, is potentially that Philadelphia Eagles game in primetime. I know a lot of fans are saying they should bring back the Kelly Green jerseys for that game. Dolphins in the white throwbacks. It's an 8:20 primetime game, Sunday Night Football. I'm going to, move heaven and earth to get to that game. So with me being in attendance and me being, a little bit negative, I'd say maybe that's the only loss I see out of those 4 games there. But I mean, that's a hell of a start for the Dolphins. If we all agree that they should maybe go 3-1, 2-2 at worst in those first 4 games, and then through this stretch, I mean, 3-1, maybe they go 4-0 if they somehow beat the Eagles. I mean, let's be honest. Last year at training camp, a lot of the Eagles beat reporters said that in those dual practices, the Miami Dolphins outperformed the Eagles, and they went on to win the Super Bowl. So stranger shits happen. Yeah, stranger shits happen. So, I think 3-1 in that stretch is pretty safe, but it's the NFL. I mean, anything can truly happen, but I think I might be overlooking the Giants a little more than I should be.
Merrick?
Yeah, so after having 3 road games in the first 4 games, the next 4, they actually have 3 home games, with the only road game being against the Eagles on primetime. Just like the first 4, I'm seeing another 3-1 in the next 4, which puts the Dolphins at 6-2 for my prediction so far through 8 games. So definitely liking the way this one's starting out.
And I mean, anything that either of you guys see that kind of seems, I guess, difficult. I know that how it's, besides the Eagles, I know you brought up the Giants. I obviously, the Giants still, I love them. My second favorite team. I grew up rooting for the Giants. I got to witness 2 Super Bowls, so I'm a little bit blessed there. But I think the same thing of we could see a little bit more out of Daniel Jones than we expect. Not that Daniel Jones is great. And I wouldn't even say the same thing. I don't think that we can be here and say, oh, Tua is great as well, because not in terms of factoring how they play, but just neither of them have really done much yet. But he is a runner, and he can run with the football. And we all know that we struggle with that very, very, mightily, especially recently. Is there anything, Merrick, that you see maybe in that Giants game that besides Daniel Jones? Because that's one of those ones where you look at it and you're like, they should win that game, but it's the Dolphins, and they'll end up losing games like that. Is there anything you could see besides maybe Daniel Jones that could cause us to lose that?
Well, we got to take a look at that Saquon Barkley situation. I know he's trying to sit out right now, trying to get a new deal. He says he's not trying to be the highest paid running back. He just wants to be paid what he thinks he's worth. One thing about the Vic Fangio style defense is you can run on a defense like that. They're kind of a bend but don't break defense. And if Saquon Barkley is playing and playing well, then you could see the Giants look to pound the rock and hurt the Dolphins defense in that way. And Saquon's one of the best backs in the NFL when he's healthy.
Houts?
Yeah. Yeah, I would have said Saquon Barkley. That would be the thing that strikes the most fear in me. I think it's kind of sad what's happening with these running backs. I mean, I understand the market and the way it's shifted, but Saquon Barkley, you know, when he's healthy, he's one of the most explosive backs. Dalvin Cook, I mean, you can argue that he deserves to get paid. Josh Jacobs, I mean, they rode the tires off of him. So I think Saquon Barkley would be my biggest fear. But I think for the way it sounds, that we all agree that this Dolphins team's 6-2 after the first 8 games, and that's just a hell of a start heading into that Germany game against the game in Munich against the Kansas City Chiefs, which we all really wanted to see Tyreek Hill go and be the Chiefs' worst nightmare like he promised and steal one in Arrowhead. But I'm excited to wake up early morning and to see that game. And then you're heading into the bye. Then you got the Raiders and the Jets. The Jets game's also a primetime game. So I feel like this is a hell of a start to the season. If I'm predicting those, you probably lose to the Chiefs, I would say. I feel like they could beat the Raiders. I'm going to say they're going to split with the Jets this year. So whichever Jets game you want to give them, I think that the Dolphins have a hell of a start through those first 75% of the season. And you got to be feeling pretty good about the situation heading into that back end of those games. What are your guys' thoughts, especially on that Germany game? How excited are you? Because I remember Tua Tagovailoa with, Lynn Bowden, Isaiah Ford, Matt Collins going toe-to-toe, in a way with Patrick Mahomes a few years ago. So that game should be a preview potentially of what an AFC championship game could be.
So
Yeah,
that game, and sorry to cut you off, Merrick, that game should be in Munich. However, it is in Frankfurt. So it is in
Shame on me. Shame on me.
Come
My
on,
bad.
I
saw you and just immediately thought Munich. That's my bad.
From a soccer point of view, I love that it's not in Munich because the NFL absolutely ruined the Allianz Arena pitch last year when they came, and it was ruined for the rest of the year. They tore it up. So to see another Bundesliga club in Eintracht Frankfurt get their stadium and their pitch messed up, I mean, hey, it is what it is. But yeah, that is in Frankfurt at the Deutsche Park. So they will be playing there in Frankfurt. I don't know. I don't think that they're winning that game. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think we're going all the way up to Germany to lose. I don't know what you think about it, Merrick, but I just don't see them beating the Chiefs in Germany, especially considering that just from a standpoint of the fact that the, I guess, quote unquote home base for the Chiefs, they have a partnership with Bayern Munich, which is my favorite club in Germany. Sorry, House, I know Dortmund sucks, but they have a partnership with Bayern Munich, and they are kind of the German-based NFL team right now. So I just don't think that they'll lose up there.
Well, I don't know a damn thing about soccer, so we can end that soccer talk right now. But
well, I'll tell you, Eintracht Frankfurt playing the top spiel of the Bundesliga, so there you go. They suck though.
Well, regardless,
sounds so sexy when he says it.
He does have a nice accent there.
Thank you.
Regardless, Dolphins playing the Chiefs in Germany. One thing we talked about, Tua struggling against Fangio defenses. Patrick Mahomes, we can all agree he's an alien on the football field, but he has also had some of his, I don't want to say worst games, but he has also struggled against Fangio defenses in the past. Fangio used to be the head coach of the Denver Broncos there, and he always gave Mahomes a little bit of trouble. Chiefs oftentimes still came out on top because they're a pretty complete team, top to bottom. So I think I would also predict a loss there. Then they got the Raiders. That's looking like a pretty good chance to get back on track. That game's at home, so I'll predict a win there. And then, yeah, you guys are right. They're going on the road against the Jets, against Aaron Rodgers. As long as everything's going well for him by week 12, you could, he's old like me.
They're going to suck. I'm sorry. They're going to suck.
You think they're going to suck? Or
they're going to suck. I think if an entire team is sitting there, and I'm sorry because it's a little bit of a rant. I think if an entire team is sitting there and the guy that you drafted, that your organization is supposed to rally around, is struggling, and Zach Wilson was struggling, like whether we can say it in a nice way or a bad way, he was struggling. That all of them, yeah, but we'll try to be a little bit nice. But that all of these people and all these players on your team are saying, oh, you know what, our guy's not good enough. Well, he's still there, openly campaigning for another player of another NFL team. And then the player of that, and I'll never get off this high horse until he proves me wrong. The player that you traded for says he was 90% retired, but felt butthurt, so they decided to come back. When you're retired, when you reach that point, you're retired. I I don't see how the Jets are going to be good. I just can't see it.
I hope you're right, Kai. I don't know if I
I'm on
can
a
go
high horse
quite
for
that
this. I'm
far.
sorry.
I don't know. I'm not going to predict the Jets sucking. They still have Garrett Wilson. I think he's a great young receiver. They still have Sauce Gardner, who had himself a phenomenal rookie year. Brees Hall should be rounding back into form by week 12, and this is a short week on the road. In prime time. It being the only game on a Black Friday. So I think I will. It pains me to do so, but I think I will predict a loss there, which would bring my personal prediction so far through 11 games to 7-4, 7 wins, 4 losses for the Dolphins.
Yeah, so for those next 4, the Raiders, Jets, Washington, the Titans, I only have 1 loss, and that being the Jets. I think in that stretch of week 9 to week 13, we go 2-2 with the losses being the Chiefs and the Jets. And it's not based off of the fact that I think the Jets are going to suck. I just think that the Jets will get 1 at home. I think that we'll lose 2 division games this year, and that's the Jets and the Bills. Those are the only 2. I think we go 4-2 in the division. Now for those next and last 4, we got the game against the Jets again. Cowboys, both of those at home, against Baltimore away, and then finish off the year at home against the Buffalo Bills in a game that could or could not mean something depending on how we go about that. How's your thought on those last 4?
Well, I just want to know if you did on purpose, because I think we overlooked Washington and the Tennessee Monday Nighter. So, I mean,
on purpose,
you probably
yes.
did that on purpose. There was no reason. I mean, we can chalk them up as 2 W's.
Yeah.
So I see what you did there.
Couple
and then
dubs.
I think we all agree the Jets and Dolphins. I think I'm with Merrick. I think you also said it, Kai. They're going to split that series there with them. They'll split with the Bills this year, but those would probably be the only 2 losses in division. So I do have them again beating Washington, beating Tennessee, beating the Jets there since they lost on prime time. And then I just feel like that last stretch I feel like they'll beat Buffalo to end the season, and that could be for the division. But I feel like Baltimore and Dallas, I wrote down losses there because I'm trying to figure out how I get to my 10 or 11 wins. 11's my optimistic thing that I kind of threw out there. That's how I feel the season's going to go. But I feel like that's just me being a homer. So I feel like they lose 2 of those, at least 1 of those games between Dallas and Baltimore. But I wrote down 2 because I think I ended up with a 10-7. How many games do they play this year? It's still 17, right?
Yep, still 17.
Yeah, they still screwed me up with that extra game.
Still
So
17.
I feel like they can win 11 games. That's the homer me, but I think I'm just tempering my expectations a bit and going with 10. So I got them finishing 10-7 and closing out the year winning 4 of the last 6. What about you, Merrick?
Yeah, so I think we got my prediction through that Friday game against the Jets. I will also predict a win against the Commanders, a win against the Titans, a win against the Jets in Miami. When it comes to the last 3, I think I'm right there with you. I got losses against Dallas and Baltimore, but I do have them ending the season strong at home against Buffalo, which would mean I am predicting a 11-6 finish for the Miami Dolphins this season.
Damn, for once between the 3 of us, I'm the homer. This is an interesting situation. I feel like I try to bring us down back to earth a little bit, but I have us, like I said, Washington, Tennessee, those are W's. I just bypass those because I feel like it's obvious. I was beating the Jets. I was beating the Cowboys, losing to Baltimore, and beating the Bills. I'm finishing off with a 12-5 record. I'm going as a homer can go.
I hope you're right.
I think that the bare
pay
minimum
money for that.
I think the bare minimum this year is 11-6. And the maximum I think we can get to is 12-5. I don't think we'll go more than 12-5, but I think the bare minimum is 11-6. Last year my minimum was 10-7. They didn't get there, but now we got more talent and we should be better. I think 12-5 record with 11-6 being the bare minimum.
So Kai, 12-5, are they winning the division?
No.
You still have Buffalo winning the division
until we show that we can beat Buffalo. I don't think that we'll win the division. And I know other games, count in that as well, and games that we're not playing. And Buffalo can sometimes slip up. They have their moments, but until I see it, I'm just not a believer.
What about you, Josh? You predicted 11-6. Is that good enough to win the AFC East?
Yeah, the homer me definitely picked 11-6, and I was going to say that last game is going to be for the division. So that's the way I see it. I see Miami taking the division week 18. I think I'm doing my math right. So that's where I'm at. I think the Dolphins win the division. Hopefully, Stephon Diggs causes some ruckus in the locker room, or I don't know what happens, but yeah, that's the homer me. But if we can we agree the floor might be 10 wins, or are we saying the floor is 11? Like realistically,
I think the floor
speaking.
is 11.
Okay. Because I'm saying if they finish anywhere between 10 and 12, 13 wins, I feel like they're in the playoffs. They're making noise. But yeah, that week 18 game in Miami to be announced. Did they ever announce the time on that one? I got to be announced written down on this one.
It says TBA for me as well.
Yeah, okay. So I mean that could be for all the marbles. They can flex that bad boy to prime time. We'll all be watching. That's my prediction. What about you, Merrick? On your birthday, give us your prediction.
Yep, I think I'm right there with you. I think that final game against the Bills will be a division deciding contest, and I think the Dolphins eke one out at home, and we're all riding high as the Dolphins win the division for the first time since what 20. God, I don't even. I can't even think. I have no idea. For the first time in a long damn
And winning
time.
the division?
2008, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
2016.
That would have
is a
been the
wild card.
Sperano, and that's when I was at the Jersey game. They won in Week 17. Chad Pennington
Yeah,
took
wild.
out Brett. Yeah, Brett Favre. Dude, it has been so long. The other thing I had was offensive and defensive, defensive player of the year, offensive player of the year for the Dolphins. Who you guys got?
Well,
I know we're running out of
Let's
time.
hit a break.
We should
Yeah.
probably hit a break, and then we can get into those real quick before we close this one out.
Yeah, we'll absolutely hit a break here, and then we'll get into those quickly, and then this will be the last you hear from us for a little bit. So we'll hit a break, and then we'll be right back.
Life after a car accident can be tough, but you don't have to go it alone. When you need legal help, turn to the experts at Finster Scheiblaw Group. Our accident experts will fight tirelessly to make sure you get the compensation you deserve for your pain and suffering. Don't let the insurance companies push you around. Call 1-800-TELL-ROBERT or visit tellrobert.com. We have your back and your bumper in your time of need. We're here to help you get the justice you deserve. So remember, that's 1-800-TELL-ROBERT. We'll take the wheel and steer you towards the compensation you deserve. Spokesperson, not an attorney. Broward.
Are you a South Florida property owner with an insurance claim? Are you dealing with water, mold, or fire damage to your home or business? Are you having trouble locating a 5-star rated general contractor that is fully licensed, certified, and insured? If the answer is yes, then Water Cleanup of Florida is here for you 24 hours a day. With over 60 years of combined experience, Michael, Robert, Jorge, and their team is prepared to handle any size property damage disaster. When an unexpected damage occurs to your home or business, you need specialized, fast, and reliable services. Water Cleanup of Florida understands the impact and stress an unexpected disaster may cause. Their objective is to make the cleanup and insurance claim process painless and hassle-free. Water Cleanup of Florida is also a licensed general contractor, so they provide the A to Z service, one-stop shopping that busy homeowners and business owners require. Water Cleanup of Florida is now an authorized dealer of Eurocraft cabinets, so premier kitchen, bath, and laundry cabinetry, countertops, and other accessories are available for your viewing at their showroom in Boca Raton. Or, do you prefer to shop from your home or office? Then Water Cleanup will send you one of our design specialists to you with samples and products that fit your style and budget. Call Michael anytime on his personal cell phone if you have any questions at 954-579-0356. That's 954-579-0356. Or visit their website at wcufl.com. You can follow them on Facebook and Instagram. And please check out their more than 80 5-star reviews on Google and Facebook. Water Cleanup of Florida. If you have the schmutz, they have the guts.
I'm Jalen Phillips, and you're listening to 3 Yards Per Carry.
All right, and we're back. So we'll get into who are, I guess, more so, like defensive MVP for the team, offensive MVP, and I guess bold predictions. Merrick, how about you give me your offensive MVP for the Miami Dolphins?
I'll tell you what, maybe this is just chalk here, or maybe it's not chalk, depending on your point of view. But I really do think that this is the year that Tua Tagovailoa plays a full 17-game season for the Miami Dolphins. I think he puts those injury questions to bed, very specifically the concussion issues. I think he puts those to bed. I think he plays a full 17-game season, and I think if that happens and when that happens, I think Tua Tagovailoa will be the team's offensive MVP. He was on an MVP, not even just a Dolphins MVP, but an NFL MVP pace last season before he got injured. I think he can return to form. I think he's going to have a great season. His second year under Mike McDaniel, that's a very underrated storyline this offseason. This is the first time in his career, dating back to college, that he has the same offensive play caller for 2 consecutive seasons. I think he stays healthy. He takes that next step forward after taking a huge leap forward last offseason, and I think Tua Tagovailoa is your Miami Dolphins offensive MVP for
Such
2023.
a cop out. Houts.
Well, he copped out, but that's what I was going to cop out. So I should probably change mine now, right?
Yes.
Should I go with Liam Eichenberg? I'm in all seriousness. I was going to say Dalvin.
The call for that.
Yeah, I was going to say Dalvin Cook because they'll end up signing him. I guess I'm going to go. Tyreek Hill's a cop out too, right? I feel like that's a cop out. I'm gonna go Jalen Waddle. Let's go Jalen Waddle. I'll try to be different. He's bigger this year, stronger. Let's see him go out there and he'll probably put up more yards and more touchdowns than Tyreek Hill. So I'm going real bold prediction there. I'll go Jalen Waddle, but I was definitely gonna say Tua Tagovailoa if you called on me first.
So Jalen Waddle's gonna learn how to catch then.
Oh yeah, I forgot you. Yeah, he will, and he's gonna get all that yak too. His 18.
Why do you say it like that? You said
that
you forgot me. It's not just me. All right.
No, it's not you. We all see it. I agree, but I know that you harped on it the last time we talked, so I should have
every day.
Yeah. So if Liam Eichenberg doesn't count, then I can't go with him, and I can't do Tua because that's a cop out, and even Tyreek's a little bit of a cop out. So I'm going Jalen Waddle. Waddle. What about you, Kai? Who you got?
So I'm gonna save the best for last, right? Because you went Tua, Merrick, you went Jalen Waddle, Houts. I don't feel like copping out with Tyreek Hill, so I'm gonna throw a shot in the dark here and just throw my little dart on my dartboard, and I'm gonna say that Jeff Wilson Jr. is going to be our offensive MVP.
Wow, that's bold.
He's going to commit to the run.
Very
McDaniel's
bold.
going to commit to the run. Nice.
Yeah, I'm going to go very bold and say that Mike McDaniel goes back to what made him, not that he's going to go away from the past, but he'll go back to what made him a hot topic in his run designing and his run play calling and his run game expertise. And now we're going to see a very good season out of Jeff Wilson Jr. I was going to go with A-Chain, but I don't want to go that far. I don't want to go that much of a shot in the dark, although some would argue that he's a better opportunity to lead the running backs than Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson, just from what we've seen so far for those of us who like to overreact about training camp because there's nothing, OTAs, because there's nothing else for us to really look at anyways. But I'm going to go the shot in the dark and say that the running game gets going and Jeff Wilson gets to his San Francisco 49ers form where it looked like there's times where because of the system that they run, he can be a guy, and I think he'll be very important in the pass game and in the run game. Unlike Chase Edmonds, he knows how to catch the football, and that's why Chase Edmonds got traded. So I'm very confident in that one. I think that Jeff Wilson Jr. Could be a really, really big part of our offense, and I still think that the run game, I definitely feel like the run game this year is going to excel better than it did last year, and it's going to be a huge focus. I would be surprised if it wasn't a huge focus.
I like it. I like the
Good
bold
shit.
ones.
I gotta go a little bit bold because for defense, I might go a little bit bold for defense. Defense, Joshua, I'll start with you. Your defensive MVP for the Miami Dolphins.
Man, I'm gonna cop out again because if I'm the first person up, I mean,
You're gonna
the
say
whole
the
time I
guy
was
that
coming
let
on
us
here-
back from the break, aren't you?
Yes, I am. I'm going to say Jalen Phillips. I think he's a superstar in the making. I think he's going to have double-digit sacks. I was thinking maybe Jalen Ramsey if Merrick or one of you sniped my Jalen Phillips pick, but I'm going with Jalen Phillips. I think he's a legit contender to be Defensive Player of the Year this year. I might even put a bet down on that. But like you said, man, he let us back in from the break. So I'm a huge Jalen Phillips stan. I'm going Jalen Phillips. I think in this defense, with the secondary improving, with Vic Fangio in town, Bradley Chubb's healthy opposite of him, he's going to put up double-digit sacks. I'm going Jalen Phillips.
Merrick?
All right, man. I mean, Josh, you mentioned it, an improved secondary. You got Vic Fangio in-house. What is Fangio known for? He's known for his dominating safeties. So I will take Javon Holland as defensive MVP for the Miami Dolphins for the 2023 NFL season. You know, entering his third season in the league, we've seen flashes of brilliance from Javon Holland so far, but he hasn't had that breakout season just yet. But talk to any, NFL analyst out there, talk to any football expert, and they will tell you that Javon Holland is a superstar in the making. And I think this is the season under Vic Fangio's tutelage that he puts it all together. I'm predicting 6 interceptions, maybe even more. I'm predicting multiple forced fumbles, fumble recoveries, maybe a touchdown or 2. I think Javon Holland, Dolphins defensive MVP, and I think he makes the Pro Bowl for the first time in his career this year.
So I'm also going to stick with the trend of secondary. However, I'm going to go with Brandon Jones. I've been a huge...
You're full of the bold predictions today, Kai.
Yeah, I like it, man.
I mean,
Good stuff.
I've been very huge for a lot of things. From when I was doing the extra yard, on 5 Reasons Sports, and just for a while, I've been really huge on Brandon Jones for whatever reason. I don't know. There's certain players where I just like them and they could do no wrong at times. I think that he's a very, very important part of the defense, and a lot of people didn't realize it until he went down last year, and there were some things that he was able to do that we weren't able to get production out of from backups. I think that with Vic Fangio, just like a Javon Holland, he can be elevated to a newer level and maybe learn some of the things that he does lack on, because he's not the best safety. He's not the best coverage safety. But I think that he can improve and learn on some of the things that he can get better with and that he lacks on currently. And that could really, really help us. I really like Brandon Jones. I love Javon Holland as well. I really like Brandon Jones. I think that he could be one of those kind of hidden things. I was going to go with a Kader Kohu, but I think that does it sound weird to say that Kader Kohu would be a cop-out? I don't know why, but it feels a little bit weird to say that would be a cop-out for just the overachieving of what we were expecting from last year.
No, I think that'd be another bold prediction, especially when you got Jalen Ramsey in house and Xavier Howard hopefully staying healthy throughout the whole year. But Kader Kohu had himself a fantastic rookie year, especially after going undrafted. But that's what the Dolphins do. They find these undrafted gems. Let's see if they've let's see if they did it again this year. This Mitchell Agood fella seems to be lighting up training camp so far. Not training camp yet, but mini camp so far, and we'll see what happens.
What happened to Superstar? When Nick Needham, I need him. Superstar. Come on, self-proclaimed.
He's injured, man. I know, he was injured. He's coming back.
Self-proclaimed Nick Needham. Even before he got injured, he wasn't the best.
He was solid, especially for an undrafted player. But I feel you. I actually gave him during, I believe it was his rookie year, he was giving up big plays here and there, and I gave him the nickname one game of Nick don't want him, don't need him, from the old.
That's messed up.
I remember sitting in the stands at a preseason game and tweeting constantly, number 40 needs to get off the field. I don't even know who he is. And it wasn't in a mean way, but I just was watching number 40 and I was like, this guy can't do it. And I remember during the year, like, this Nick Needham, bro, like, he can't do it. And then he started progressively getting a little bit better, and I was like, maybe there's something there.
I'm a Nick Needham guy. I like him. I'm a fan
I love
of Needham.
Superstar, self-proclaimed.
I got another bold one. What about Raekwon Davis? Davis? Contract year, big dude up front. I'll throw
Christian
him out
Wilkins.
there too. Christian Wilkins.
All right,
I think Raekwon
this?
Davis has that nose up front. Okay, let's hear another one. It's your birthday.
You want something bold? Comeback player of the year, Austin Jackson.
All right, so thank you guys so much.
Yeah, you're on whatever Aaron Rodgers. You're on whatever Aaron Rodgers was on when he was.
I'll never. Buddy. If Chris listens to this, I'll never be invited back on. He is not an Austin Jackson fan.
Is anybody besides Austin Jackson?
Not many people are.
No, I'm pretty sure his mom just jumped off the Austin Jackson train. Actually.
Oh God, that would be horrible. When your own mother, that would be the worst.
Yeah, I was being a little facetious there, but I'll tell you what my real bold prediction is.
Go.
I think the Miami Dolphins make it to the AFC Championship game. I think they lose a close one to, I'll say, the Cincinnati Bengals, not even the Kansas City Chiefs. I think that game will be played in Cincinnati, a cold weather game. I think the Dolphins won't be able to overcome the elements. They'll make it to the AFC Championship game this year, but lose. But I think next year, 2024, Dolphins will be playing in the Super Bowl for the first time in our lifetimes.
How do you have a bold prediction? A bold prediction?
Bold. Let's say Mike McDaniel, Coach of the Year. How about that? There's bold.
The last time we had an offensive
guy
go with that. In the Coach of the Year contention, you know what happened. So I don't want to go down that road.
Yeah, let's not go down that road. I'm thinking that with Merrick talking about AFC Championship, I just want to see a playoff win. How about that? I said I'd cut my hair the next time the Dolphins win a playoff game. Have them win a playoff game. Let me cut my damn hair, please. But then it probably won't grow back. So it's.
I worry about that too, honestly, because with you guys see right now it's a little hidden because of the microphones, but my curls are a little intense, and every time I get my hair cut, I'm like, man, are my curls not going to come back? It scares me a little bit. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I might bail on that now that I keep thinking. I see the grays in my beard. I might bail on that.
Look,
but
it's written in stone. Just like I said, I would send Merrick a Tua jersey. If Tua doesn't miss any games, it's written in stone. And my bold prediction, I won't be sending Merrick that jersey. No, it's not my bold prediction. My bold prediction, and I say this, and it sucks because I'm going to feel like such a homer right now when I say this. But my bold prediction is that Tyreek Hill wins MVP.
Oh, that'd be nice.
I think that there's no chance.
Even Josh's daughter. Josh's daughter is real excited about that one.
there's
nuts
no
right
way that
now.
it happens because obviously if he has that type of season, that means it'll go to Tua. But I think that Tyreek Hill has an MVP worthy season. I think he breaks 2,000 yards, and I think he's got at least double-digit touchdowns. Absolutely, without a doubt in me.
Ooh, well, this was fun. It was nice to have some positivity
Yeah,
to
for
end
real.
our run as guest hosts on 3 yards per carry. Just one more time, I want to extend my gratitude towards Chris, Alf, and Simon for allowing me on here, alongside you guys, and entrusting us with this esteemed podcast. This is one of the most popular Dolphins podcasts on the internet, and to be able to host it for the entire month of June with you guys, it certainly was a blast. And I also want to thank the listeners out there, everybody who tuned in to each and every episode, despite us not being your regular hosts. It means a lot. It means a lot for your support. So thank you guys. Thank you, Kai. Thank you, Josh, for being awesome co-hosts. I'm just very thankful for this entire experience.
Joshua, anything before I round this
No,
out?
I can't follow that up. Everything that Marek said times 2 or something. Thank you guys so much for just letting us do this, and thank you, Kai, for running the show a bit, and thank you, Marek, for literally everything. And happy birthday, bro. So
hey, thank you.
I like that we ended this on a positive note. That's what's up, because we need this.
One more thing I'll add. If you've enjoyed myself and Josh on this podcast, you can check us out along with Jake Mendel on another Dolphins podcast. Also, you can find that on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you ever want to just see my beautiful face on your screen, I also do a YouTube show with Jake Mendel called Dolphins Detail. So check that out as well.
Yeah, you can't find me anywhere. Quit the content creation game, but there's some things in the background of certain things. So maybe I'll be around, maybe I won't. I want to thank both of you because for anyone that follows me on Twitter or anyone, and I know Josh knows very well, quit doing any sort of form of content on a really low note. When I spoke to Alf about doing this, I was like, you know what, I'll if it's the possibility, I'll do it again. He brought up the idea. He's like, hey, how about Houts and Marek? And I was like, that's a great idea. Love Houts. Obviously got to meet you, Marek, and talk and everything like that, and make a new friend here on Dolphins Twitter and everything. And it was great because it gave me that energy and happiness to kind of get back on the mic. I mean, I spent thousands of freaking dollars on this goddamn setup anyway. So
it's a real nice setup.
So yeah, thank you. To put it to use, it is very awesome and I love it. Obviously, Alf, CK, and Simon, they're great guys. They've always done right by me since I was on 5 Reasons everywhere else. So can't thank them enough because they've, like I said, they've always done right by me, never done wrong by me, and I appreciate those 3 very, very dearly. Just quickly, huge shout out to Ed Nolan and Hackey. That just thank you so much. If this ever gets to you, hopefully I get to see you guys in person, and thank you in person as well. Any final things, boy, before we just roll out here?
Get ready, guys. Get ready for the best Miami Dolphins season of our lives. I really do think it's going to be a special year for us fans, for the team. And I'm excited to watch it go down. Now we only got to wait, roughly 3 more months for it to happen, but now maybe 2 months by the time this episode airs.
Into it we trust. Fins up. That's all I got to say.
My closing words will be that the Dolphins are winning the Super Bowl. All right, I will see all of you at another time at a different location. Thank you guys so much again. For myself, Marek and Houts, fins up. Thank you. Have a great rest of your weeks.
Fins up.
Fins up.
Thanks for listening to 3 Yards Per Carry. You can subscribe via iTunes, on Podbean, or your usual podcast provider.
Ready to achieve all your glow goals? Then it's time to try the Neutrogena Hydro Boost Hyaluronic Acid line. Lock in all that hydration with the hyaluronic acid serum and gel cream. It's just what your thirsty skin needs. Get it now at Target.